Okay, hello anyone who's watching. My name's Nathan, and I am unwashed, unshaved, and unprepared, and also totally unashamed. I just wanted to do a bare bones and no nonsense tutorial, I guess, demonstration on how to build your own instrument out of samples or recorded sounds using Ableton's built-in sampler. I'm just going to do it and talk through what I'm doing while I'm doing it. Yep. This is my default template. Whenever I open a new project, this is what I see. You are going to load just an initialized version of Ableton's sampler in it, and you're going to expand this zone section here. Open up your samples. I'm going to be making a bowed guitar type instrument, but all the samples, while I like the texture of the note, they're not long enough. I'm also not controlling it from my keyboard, which is what I want to do. So I'm going to drag in the notes that I'm going to use or program. So bowed guitar, A sharp, B, no, not harmony, B, C, sharp, D, sharp, E, sharp, haha, F sharp, G, and bowed guitar note, G sharp. Okay, so now what you have is, in the left side window, you've got your list of samples that you've dropped in to work with. On the right hand side, you have your representation of your MIDI keyboard, and you've got these green bars stretching horizontally across, and what they represent is what note of your MIDI keyboard will trigger which of those samples. So at the moment, all keys trigger all samples, and I just want, let's see, I would say that's like A4. So I'm just going to move that up to A4 and drag the right side of it down to A4 as well, so that the only space on the keyboard that the A is occupying is that one A4, closer to A5 for my liking. I'll leave it there, that's fine. And I need to make sure as well to change the root note here in the sampler to A3 as well. That way the sampler knows to trigger that sample in the key that it corresponds to on the MIDI keyboard. First, I'm going to drag all of the notes to be in their right place on the keyboard, and then once I've done that, just because it's less energy going back and forth between two different places on the screen, I'm going to do this first and then make sure all the settings in here are right. So D sharp is changing there. D, bowed guitar note, and D sharp. No, that's not, so D sharp. E, bowed guitar note. Yeah, so E is also an E3, which means it's behind here. So E3, F3, F sharp 3, G3, and G sharp 3. So now we've got from E to D sharp, but they're not the right notes yet, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do A is on A3, move down, and just make sure that the root note on A sharp 3 is A sharp 3. So there we go, A sharp 3. Move down to B and make sure that that's D3. Down, C3 is fine, C sharp 3. D, D3. E sharp 3. E3, F3, F sharp 3. And G sharp 3. Okay, so now every note from E3. All the way up to E sharp 3. So like I said, or maybe I didn't say and I just imagined I did, I like the quality of the note, but I wish that they were longer. So what you can do with the sampler, and what I'm about to do now, is I'm going to change sustain mode to loop, and it's this loop here, back and forth, and I'm just going to make the loop start somewhere here on the note, and then just make the close on a similar kind of peak, so that when they're going back and forth it sounds like a continuous drone rather than jumping back and forth. So now, and to get rid of this sort of jarring kind of pop, you just introduce some crossfade so it just kind of blends the beginning and end. One thing I forgot to mention before getting started is the release. You hear how it just stops? This kind of note, you kind of want it to like fade out, have like a longer release, and you want that for all of them. So you just want to go to the global settings on the sampler, and just here in this sort of last module, which determines this kind of main attack, decay, release, I'm just going to take the release up to like that. No, maybe more. Yeah. Okay. So that means now with every note I play, it's going to have that release, but not every single one is going to have, like I'm going to have to set the loop parameters of the note separately for each one. So I go back to sample here, and now that I've turned up the release, I want to decide where in the note it releases from. So I'm just going to switch on this button, whatever that is. All I know is if I turn the button on directly under sustain loop, I can choose where I want the to begin its decay, its release from. So that one's done. Now I go to A sharp, sustain mode loop, loop start here on this nice solid bit, and try to end it somewhere relatively similar. Put a bit of crossfade in so that it's smooth, and release in a similar place where the loop ends as well. So now A sharp is a nice continuous note that fades out when I let go of it. Now let's move to B. Same thing, loop sustain, start my loop here, end it on a similar peak, little bit of crossfade to make it smoother, and set my loop release here. There we go. You wouldn't even know it wasn't just a infinite hang me. That's awfully high. That's because it's C4 and not C3. Okay, now that I fix that, same again, loop start, loop, and crossfade that bad boy, and release. release. So starting to sound really good. C sharp, same thing. At this point, I don't even need to hear them anymore. I know what I'm doing. So again, here, a little bit not too much, and release there. Oh, actually, I need to make sure that's C sharp 4 as well. And do the same thing, D4. So some of those will be assigned the wrong note, just because I made that mistake from that point forward. So I'm just going to remember to correct everything. But it's something I will still anyway, because I will of course check my notes. So that's being triggered because of what new? D sharp. Oh yeah, because it's D sharp 3 and not D sharp 4. I don't understand the mechanics of that. Like, in my mind, having it lower on the trigger thing like that, and with its note being lower, in my mind it should play lower, but it doesn't. It plays higher, and then I change it to higher and it sounds lower. It confuses me, but it doesn't matter. I don't need to know the insides and outside of it. The inside and outside? What kind of way of talking is that? I don't need to know the ins and outs of why that happens just now. I just need to know what to do to make it sound right, and the rest will become clear later. Okay, E. I've got E on E3, and the root note is set to E3, so that's fine. Loads to work with in here, super happy about that. That means I can begin my loop here where it's kind of small, and end it right at this tail end where it's small, stick a bit of crossfade in. I want to hear what that's like. Cool, it's got loads of character, and of course, release the loop. Release the loop, EF there, and you can see how once you get into the hang of it, it really is just super easy to do. Like, Ableton is just one of those programs where once you understand how to make it do what you want to make it do, you realize they've built it to just manage those things so easily. Did you hear how I struggled to say the word manage there? It's because I'm trying to talk and be sort of engaging while oops, too much crossfade, while showing you all of this, but I might not even leave this. Ah, God, my back hates me in. I might just fast forward it, because the whole point of this is for it not to drag on and on forever, because I get bored watching people like that. Okay, so now I have all the notes from E3 to D sharp 4. Which is pretty nice. I'll figure out at a later stage how to expand my range of octaves. I'm going to save the higher one for these harmonics that they've included, but I'm going to do that at a later point. But yeah, so I've created an instrument here. I'm going to rename it my bowed guitar. I will save it as a preset, bowed guitar, under my sampler instruments. And if I wanted to share this with somebody, I would have to collect all and save. So I'm going to save it as a new project where I save my Ableton stuff, call it bowed guitar. And it's not just regular save, it's collect all and save, because what collect all and save does, those samples are in a different folder. If I hadn't collected and saved, when I open my Ableton project, when I go to play those samples, Ableton reaches to that folder and pulls them in. If I collect all and save, it saves the Ableton project, but also collects all of the external samples and puts them all into the same project folder, which means I can then go to manage files, manage project, create a pack, save it in the folder where I tend to share stuff, and save, and that will create a sort of zip Ableton file which now contains my bowed guitar preset, and I can go to all my friends and say, hey guys, check out this great instrument I've made, why don't you use it in a song? And they can download it and I get famous. So yep, hopefully that worked and was as easy to follow as I hoped it was, and bye.